Good day, and welcome to your daily favorite news. Here in ABC News, we serve and deliver fresh, accurate,
reliable,
and original current events. First up, let's hear from Jonami Alfante for our foreign news.
And now for our foreign news, Philippine government happy with UAE domestic worker law. The UAE's new domestic worker law was signed into implementation last week, and a Memorandum of Understanding or MOU signed by the labor ministers of the Philippines and the UAE. Philippine Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano said in a statement from Washington, D.C., "We would like to express our gratitude to President His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan for this kind gesture that would benefit hundreds of Filipinos working as domestic helpers in the UAE. The new law on domestic workers and their safety and rights is a comprehensive work of legislation that looks into all aspects of their welfare." According to Philippine Ambassador to Abu Dhabi Constancio Vigno Jr., the law will take effect 2 months after it is published in the UAE's official gazette. Of the 618,000 OFWs in the UAE, 120,000 of them are domestic workers, said Vigno. According to Philippine Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III, Philippine and UAE labor ministers signed an MOU that called for the observation of proper employment procedure. Bello and Said Gobash, Minister of Human Resources and Emiratization, signed an MOU that called for strict implementation of employment procedure for OFWs to the UAE to stop human trafficking, regulation of private recruitment agencies, and ensure fair treatment of migrant workers. This agreement will also prevent contract substitution, said Bello. The Philippines also was tasked to brief all OFWs deployed to UAE on the country's laws, policies, norms, and culture to assure the legal entry of OFWs to the UAE with proper verification of job orders and contracts, and to communicate assistance extended by the Philippine Embassy, Consulate, and Philippine Overseas Labor Office or POLO to any distressed OFW. The Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs and Labor have begun to prepare for their intergovernment negotiations with 190 nations in 2018 for labor protection under the aegis of United Nations Global Compact of Migration or GCM. The negotiations will cover issues such as insurance, labor conditions, minimum wages, number of day offs, and repatriation costs, said Manila Foreign Affairs spokesman Robespierre Bolivar. With the participation of 190 nations, GCM is expected to establish the framework and mechanisms to better uphold migrant worker security, respect for human rights, and access to justice. There are about 10 million OFWs based worldwide, and they represent 10% of their country's population of 100 million. That's all for our foreign news.
Thank you, Ms. Jonami Alfante. That is really something to be happy with, especially for our OFWs.
Yes, and next up, let us hear Miss Judilyn Rubas for her political news. Judy?
For political news, President Rodrigo Duterte has renewed his call to amend the Constitution, saying Filipinos will remember him long after he's gone if the bid for federalism fails and the same problems continue to haunt Mindanao. Duterte stressed that there would be no peace in the southern Philippines if the unitary form of government, which he said was imposed by colonizers, is not changed to a federal type. Federalism provides more powers to local governments, including the power to establish courts, implement government regulations, and impose taxes. Under a unitary form of government, much of the decisions come from the central government, a setup that federalism advocates claimed is one of the reasons some areas in Mindanao are left behind in terms of resources. Last year, House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez said Duterte wanted the Constitution to be amended through a constituent assembly wherein lawmakers would convene to propose changes to the charter.
Thank you, Ms. Rubas. Federalism is the second issue that is the Philippines is talking right now, and the Senate is debating for it.
Not just in the Senate, folks, it is also the subject for the students' debate, specifically the students under Humanities and Social Sciences in Bankal National High School. Next up, Let's hear from Miss Manto for new trends of today.
For our new trends today, we have virtual reality. The future of transport and tourism may well involve not going anywhere. Researchers at HSBC have seen the future and it features a lot of virtual reality. People will be able to use the technology to visit virtual worlds as real as our own. HSBC analysts Davy Jose and Anton Tonev said in a note to client. And while they'll be free to visit, they might be full of ads. Virtual reality could create many new avenues for recreation and leisure. And if it follows the ad models of many of the technology giants today, these virtual reality recreation activities could be free, HSBC said. Tech giants such as Google, Facebook, and Sony are pushing virtual reality headsets as the next big thing. In a demo last week, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg showed off social virtual reality using a combination of the Oculus Rift headset together virtual reality in the real world. The technology has endless applications and the workplace may well only exist in virtual reality, eliminating the need to commute to the office, HSBC analyst said. Key to this change is the development of haptics, technology that engages all the senses in the virtual world, rather than just sight and sound, to make it feel more real. That's all for our trend today. Back to you, April and Justina.
Next up, let us hear Miss Ambaray for her sports news.
The long busting race organized by the Sunrise Events Incorporation led by Wilfred Stephen Oitingsu started and ended at the Shangri-La Resort and Spa, where the 1.9-kilometer swim was held on the waters fronting of the resort. The race took the participants on a 90-kilometer bike ride to some places in Cebu, Mandaue, and Talisay, and then led them back to Punta Engaño, Lapu-Lapu City, where the long-distance run was held covering 21 kilometers. Out of the 2,756 participants of the event, an Australian triathlete named Timothy James Reid garnered his third championship title, which he has held for the 3 consecutive years. He finished his race with a total time of 3 hours, 54 minutes, and 7 seconds.
Coming up, let's hear from Mr. Felicio for his oil price status.
For gasoline prices, we show prices from July 3 to October 9, 2017. The average value for that time was 44.49 peso, with a minimum of 42.46 peso on July 3, 2017, and for maximum of 47 peso on September 25, 2017. For comparison, the average price of gasoline in the Philippines for this period is 68.77 peso.
Coming up, let us hear Miss Ladonga for her weather forecast live at Pagasa, Lapu-Lapu City.
And for today's forecast, heavy rains continue to hit some parts of Metro Manila today. The sudden downpours are due to the habagat or the southwest monsoon, which is enhanced by a low pressure area near Vietnam. That LPA won't directly hit the country, but heavy rains are still expected in Metro Manila, particularly in Pasay and Taguig. Now, the western section of Luzon will also be affected. These areas include the Ilocos region, Bataan, Zambales, Pangasinan, Nueva Ecija, Cavite, Batangas, as well as Mindoro and Palawan. We advise the public to take extra precautions since rains may persist till evening. Now, Weather Bureau Pag-asa warns the same weather scenario will also be felt tomorrow and in the coming days due to the southwest monsoon. Now, please be on alert for floods or landslides in your area. Moving to the southern Philippines, Visayas and Mindanao will also be under cloudy skies with light to moderate showers. These areas include Boracay, Iloilo, Bacolod, Cebu, Bohol, up to Leyte and Samar. Now in Mindanao, Zamboanga Peninsula and northern Mindanao, including Cagayan de Oro, will also be under light to moderate rains, while Davao and General Santos City will be under isolated showers. Now, there's no storm in the Philippine Area of Responsibility, but we should always be prepared. Remember last year, the habagat left a massive trail of devastation in Metro Manila and parts of Luzon. We hope that won't happen again. Pag-asa said they expect one more storm this month and 10 to 15 more storms within the year. And that is the latest here in Pag-asa.
Don't forget to bring Umbrella Fox anytime and anywhere. Coming up, let's hear from Mr. Bagakay for the entertainment news.
Thank you, Kami and April. So for the entertainment news, many terms are being attached to Marlo Arizala, now Sander Ford, sometimes called addict, often ugly. Recently, he was called Boy Pinipig. The chocolate-covered ice cream with a rough texture coordinated his face. Social media is now creating this viral meme that everyone now is laughing at. He was once known as Marlo, but now he says, call him Sander Ford alone. Through the program Rated K, Sander Ford's new personality has been exposed to the public. Nothing seems to be laughing at his face anymore. Those nose is sculpted. The skin is now polished. The chin and jaw also rarely improves as the teeth are changed. The name Sander was cute that he liked it. Ford also comes from the heartthrob Daniel Padilla, whose full name is Daniel John Ford Padilla. In the midst of television movie actor, his kuya Daniel is whom he wants to be like. Sander cannot say the transfiguration and transformation. He admits he has been hurt by the contempt of the past, but it does not mean that the whole reason for his decision is to fix it. I did what I think was right, and I want something different, he said, looking at the other person. I made a different way. I changed the name, I changed my fate, said the former #5 member. The new look, the new group, the new name, and the new person is ready to showcase the new Sander Ford that he expects today as a human being as opposed to the experience of former Marlo. He's more talented now. It's more strange. It would seem that Sander Ford would be much more precious today. However, he does not know where the criticism ends. Still more bash, but he still continues in his dreams. I'm still ready for bash. More bash, more blessing. The language for Sander Ford. And although Sander left the old man as Marlo, he said that he owed him so much thanks to his gratitude. Thank you for being with Sander Ford, because Marlo is only investment of Sander Ford. That's all for the entertainment news. Bye-bye!
Anyways, I've heard that Marlo's transformation into Sander Ford, it's because of his pimples. You don't have a plan?
Are you kidding me, right?
Of course not.
So, the program is coming to an end. This is Justino Ramio.
And this is April Tampus.
Remember, here in ABC News, we serve and deliver fresh,
accurate,
reliable, and original current events. Good morning, folks.
Mabuhay!